Thank you, Mr.
Gentleman
Chair.
is recognized for 5 minutes.
I offer this amendment on behalf of Mr. Holt, and I appreciate the Chair's comment that you want to make sure that agencies consider data and science that is submitted by tribes and state and local governments. If that is your concern and you want to make sure the data is considered, and you don't want to politically predefine what data is best or what science is best, you don't want to politically tie the hands of agencies, and this is the amendment for you, because it reinstates a provision that in fact does ensure consideration of all the data that is submitted, but it strikes that portion of the main bill that predefines any and all such data, whether it's even actually data, whether it's actually valid science, predefines it as best available science. That's the problem with this bill, is that predefinition. We think that it makes no sense at all to take away the quality control that comes from agency discretion and peer review and the things that actually determine best available science. If a state and a tribe have conflicting views, are we supposed to accept both submissions as best available science? The ranking member pointed out the kind of chaos and litigation that would ensue from that type of situations. Or certainly, what about the case where a county thinks that their data is better than state data? This bill, without the amendment, certainly creates more problems than it solves. And there's no better example of that, frankly, than what my colleague Mr. Costa referred to in the Delta and what's going on with California water right now in this drought. The fact is, this is a case where the biological opinions for the salmon and the smelt indisputably reflect best available science. They have been extensively peer-reviewed and affirmed and upheld in court decision after court decision, and yet they continue to be accused of being junk science. So at the end of the day, this is not really about science, this bill. This is about politics. I've got a political science degree. This is certainly political science, trying to predefine by Congress what constitutes the best available science and data, but it's not about quality science. So I would request your support of the amendment, and I would just note in the few of the seconds that I have remaining that the very real impacts and burdens that are happening in California under this drought right now are not because of the Endangered Species Act. We've heard the actual facts that this is about the most critical drought that California has ever experienced. The reductions that are seen this summer because of the lack of water, not because of ESA restrictions. In fact, many key ESA provisions have been waived for several weeks going in a row now so that the pumps could be turned on again to capture a little bit more water to provide to Delta water users. If anything, we're seeing that there's great flexibility in the Endangered Species Act that's being brought to bear for Delta water users. This is not a case of any particular fish species or the ESA causing reduced deliveries this summer. And with that, I'll yield the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields back his time. I will recognize my